Are you surprised by the evidence that's already coming out in the criminal trial?
No, I'm not surprised. I experienced some of those things. Witnessed violence.
So Bow Wow got bomb. So
It was the scandal no one saw coming, Orlando Brown. The one-time Disney darling turned unpredictable truth bomber has gone viral again, and this time his target is none other than Sean Diddy Combs. In an interview that spun off the rails within minutes, Brown looked straight into the camera, licked his lips, and delivered what might go down as the most unsettling celebrity accusation of the decade.
I mean, you gave me the oosh-gosh moosh. I love it, yo. I love it. You gave me the oosh-gosh moosh.
The reaction pandemonium. Social media caught fire within hours, not because it was Orlando Brown, a man many dismissed as unstable, but because this time the names he said were different, bigger, more protected. Drake still glowing from the success of Scary Hours. 3 suddenly had fans asking questions no press release could prepare for. Usher, who just conquered the Super Bowl stage, was now trending for reasons not found on Apple Music. What began as Brown's bizarre confession quickly spiraled into a fever pitch of speculation. Was he actually lifting the veil on a hidden chain of exposure passed silently between stars via the very man now facing federal sentencing? And that's when the deeper panic started to take hold. If these claims had come from anyone else, they'd be front-page headlines. But coming from Orlando Brown, the room divided. Some say he's sick and needs help, others insist he's spilling secrets that were never meant to reach the light of day. It's the kind of claim too salacious to ignore, yet too disturbing to accept without proof. Still in the meck of the entertainment world's polished surface. Cracks have started to a threat is unraveling, and Brown may have just pulled it with manic glee cars.
You gave me the oosh-gosh goosh-mash. You gave me the oosh-gosh mooaf. The smoosh-mash. Diddy. Yeah, son. I mean?
The whispers aren't new. What's new is how loud they're getting, especially now with Diddy already bruised from a year of relentless lawsuits, criminal charges, and media grenades. But Brown's claims take the narrative somewhere colder. What if this isn't just about past encounters? What if he's pointing to a pattern and a much bigger web? Within days of the interview, hashtags started emerging, echoing one question again and again. If Diddy did infect Orlando, who else has been quietly exposed? Speculation swirled like storm clouds. Some framed it as revenge. Others began tracking overlapping social circles. Past party guest lists, public sightings. And then came the rumor that locked everyone's gate. A former industry road manager who claims to have been paid to disappear alleges the existence of what they're calling a silence fund, not hush money in the classic sense, but a long-term rolling fund used to clean up situations medically, legally, reputationally. Indeed, ads are just the first layer according to this source. The fund was managed not by Diddy directly, but through intermediaries positioned within his business web. You get a call, the source said, a clinic referral, a check, and instructions. That was it. The names never came up again, no confirmations of course, but the logic impeccable when you operate in a glass mansion. You can't afford shattered reputations or lawsuits pointing back to bedroom secrets turned courtroom liabilities.
Is he this gangster that behind the scenes that is that him? Or is that people
Shout
running?
out to Wendy Williams.
Would that be why more haven't spoken up? Because they've already been silenced, not just with money, but with medicine and manipulation. The question looms large, especially as new names continue surfacing in online chatter from stylists to stagehands, each with a vaguely familiar story that ends in sudden unexplained disappearances or career freezes. They don't name names, but the patterns are undeniable. One background dancer posted cryptically, "I went to that house in Star Island once, that was enough." The comment was deleted within minutes, and then we hit the next layer, the one few dared touch. Until now, the infamous freak-off parties once dismissed as urban legend. They've now become a recurring motif in the swirling allegations around Diddy. These weren't just eccentric list bails, according to leaked court filings and insider interviews. They were something else entirely: multi-day retreats, cloaked in glamour. But built on submission, the attendees a curated mix of rising talent, influencers, and vulnerable bodies flown in under vague contracts and loftier promises. Cameras were allegedly hidden, phones were confiscated, and in some cases participants say they were given substances and coerced into acts that later reappeared as leverage.
They saw evidence in the case. They immediately honed in on racketeering and they started saying, why is this racketeering with one guy? And they're charging this one guy. They had a real problem with that. They did not have a problem with the Mann Act. They found him guilty on the Mann Act. And they hung 6 to 6 on racketeering.
It gets darker. A former security detail member who worked several of these events alleges a media room existed within one of Diddy's properties. A windowless vault lined with encrypted drives, each one labeled not by name, but by code that detail if true paints a chilling picture. Not only were these freak-offs, indulgent playgrounds for the rich and reckless, they may have doubled as blackmail farms. One assistant speaking under anonymity claimed she once saw a hard drive with post-its that said Dizzy 3IMA and Urbar. She didn't ask questions. She packed up her things and left the next day. And let's not forget what the jurors in Diddy's recent trial were shown behind closed doors. While most of the public never saw the freak-off footage, those who did describe it as less graphic, more disturbing. One alternate juror said it was a lot of oil. Yeah. But it was also the vibe. The blank looks the way some people looked at the camera, like they didn't know what was there. That unnerving detachment is what stuck. It wasn't just what was happening, it was how it was happening. The robotic compliance, the stillness between commands.
Same kind of extortion that we heard when Cassie took the stand and testified on that airplane ride back from France. Diddy said, you don't do a freak-off, I'm going to release one of the freak-off videos that you are profiled in and humiliate you.
Orlando Brown may have lit the fuse with words that sounded like a parody, but what's unfolding now is anything but funny. Even if 90% of what he says is nonsense, that leftover 10% is enough to send shivers down the spine of an industry still pretending everything's fine. When a man names Drake, Usher, Busta, and Bo, wow. Not just as casual connections, but as partners in something intimate and possibly medical. The implications are nuclear. This isn't about tabloid gossip. This could be about reputational extinction, silent infections, and a legacy of abuse swept under layers of PR, spin, and high-powered lawyers. And that brings us to the newest speculations during quietly through private DMS and clubhouse rooms. Who's going to flip next? Because where there's a cover-up, this elaborate, there's always someone on the inside who knows too much. A manager, a driver, a friend with a grudge, and a hard drive. They stashed years ago. They're watching Orlando go viral and wondering if he's cracked the seal, how long until the whole vault bursts open. The whisper networks are reactivating. Studio execs are scrubbing names from calendars. Celebs are going radio silent, hoping their past appearances at Diddy's. Parties don't get cross-referenced with medical leaks or unseen footage. One former assistant posted a veiled warning if you were at any of those parties between 2015 and 2021. Check your health records and check your NDA clauses. That post has been taken down, but screenshots remain and now buried in subreddits and Discord groups. Digital detectives are piecing together timelines, tracking celeb movements, matching tour gaps to rumored freak-off weekends. A chilling pattern is emerging, and if it holds, the implications could ripple far beyond Diddy himself. For now, the silence from the name stars is deafening. Drake, known for responding to the slightest shade, has gone mute. Usher's camp has only acknowledged that he's focused on upcoming performances. Bow Wow posted a meme and logged off. No one's issuing formal denials, which has only fueled more suspicion. Are they ignoring it because it's beneath them or because there's truth they'd rather not poke at?
Like they once worked together a long time ago. They're not friends now. They don't like each other. And yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially when Diddy has been down.
And all the while, Orlando Brown, with his half-lucid grin and wild storytelling style, has become the unexpected oracle of the moment. His claims, once dismissed as delusional, are now being combed over frame by frame, timestamp by timestamp. People are listening, not to laugh, but to decode, because somewhere in the madness might be the detail that connects it all. The one truth that proves this isn't just another celebrity scandal, it's something far deeper, far more calculated. And if the rumors are right far from over, and now the industry is bracing for impact. Behind the scenes, there's a quiet chaos playing out in real time. We're watching it happen. Across the timelines of a lister's celebrity, profiles being scrubbed clean, years of party pics, and late-night backstage shots vanishing without explanation. One Diddy selfie here, a toast in the club, they're now suddenly gone. Drake, who's never been shy about flexing his lifestyle, has gone full digital ghost. No tweets, no stories, just silence. Usher fresh office, Super Bowl high. Pulled out of 2 upcoming events, citing logistical conflicts, but insiders close to his team say the cancellations came within 48 hours. Of Orlando Brown's clip hitting peak virality, one fashion rep even claimed an upcoming Met Gala theme was suddenly reevaluated because of certain attendees no longer considered press safe. The message, distance yourself or risk getting dragged under, for him.
I mean, to each their own, and why would they not have sex when they're rappers?
Paranoia is leaking out of the green rooms and into the boardrooms. Major labels are doing emergency reviews of artist affiliations, and PR firms in New York and LA are allegedly offering rapid disassociation packages. Crisis strategies specifically designed to surgically remove their clients from Diddy's orbit. We're hearing whispers of hush-hush phone calls, last-minute flights to Europe, and even long-retired execs suddenly getting pulled back in for discretion. Everyone's trying to get ahead of something, but no one seems to know how deep the iceberg goes. What they do know is that Brown didn't just light a match, he set the floor on fire. So who's next? That's the question, gnawing at the edges of every publicist's desk, because if Orlando Brown's wild claims are even partly rooted in something real, we're not looking at a simple scandal, we're staring down a potential domino effect that could rip through the top layer of celebrity power. Some names keep coming up in the background noise. A certain pop R&B hybrid who's been eerily low-key since May, a pair of luxury lifestyle influencers who once bragged about after-dark adventures at Diddy Star Island estate, and an award-winning producer whose assistant was quietly fired just days after the first rumors broke. None of them are talking, but their silence is starting to sound like strategy.
For him, although interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence. But
now there's something else fueling the panic, what many are calling the secret vault. According to multiple people with knowledge of past security operations at Diddy's properties, there may be an archive, a literal physical storage site where years of footage are kept under lock and key. Not music videos, not personal reels. We're talking about recordings from private gatherings, often filmed without full consent, capturing celebrities and guests in intimate, vulnerable, sometimes deeply compromising situations. One ex-bodyguard who spoke on condition of anonymity claimed the footage wasn't just backup. It was leverage insurance power. It was how you kept people loyal. He said, once you're on one of those tapes, you don't go rogue. You don't sue, you don't talk. If this is true, it could explain why Diddy's reign lasted so long. Despite what insiders now admit were decades of rumors, a system designed not just to entertain, but to entrap. Every party invitation, every freak off, every flight to a private island, potentially a thread in a larger web of quiet coercion, and with federal agents already combing through his digital devices and hard drives. The fear is no longer just about personal exposure. It's about what happens if those drives get leaked or worse copied, if the vault exists and falls into the wrong hands. We're looking at a scandal with the potential to sink careers, split families, and flip billion-dollar brand deals overnight. Imagine the chaos if footage surfaces showing someone's favorite athlete, musician, or streaming star in a scene they never consented to share that possibility. As the entire entertainment world holding its breath.
I think when it came to, it's not just the more serious charges, but it's the more complex charges, where the jury, in order to, for instance, find guilt on the racketeering charge, was going to have to find not just that Sean Combs had kicked his girlfriend, had beat people up, had engaged in truly abhorrent behavior, but that he ran a criminal enterprise.
The timing couldn't be more volatile. Diddy's legal battles are far from over. Sentencing is set, but prosecutors are still digging and civil lawsuits are piling up like unpaid bills. Some claim the authorities are quietly trying to build a broader case, one that could stretch beyond Diddy himself and implicate those who knowingly facilitated or covered up his alleged crimes. And that's where Orlando Brown, of all people, becomes both the most unlikely and the most dangerous figure in this saga, because for all his erratic behavior, for all the moments where he seemed to be spiraling, he also might have cracked open something nobody else dared touch.
Well, the things that I experienced with him were monster-like. That stuff almost destroyed my life.
But that raises the million-dollar question. Why now? Why is Orlando Brown suddenly naming names, staring into cameras, and turning a decades-old whisper network into a global headline? Some think he's finally fed up a broken man choosing chaos over silence. Others suspect he's not alone. One tabloid columnist floated the theory that Brown may be receiving help, not just from podcast hosts chasing clicks, but from parties with something to gain from Diddy's downfall. Revenge, redemption, maybe even misdirection. We can't say for sure, but there's a reason. Some believe he's not just spilling tea, he's playing a role. And let's not forget timing matters. Brown's clips began circulating just days after a key witness in one of Diddy's civil cases suddenly requested anonymity and dropped off social media coincidence or choreography. In a world where blackmail, influence, and silent alliances shape careers, it's hard to know who's using who. Maybe Brown is exposing the truth. Or maybe he's being used as a smoke grenade giving cover while something even more explosive plays out behind the scenes. What's undeniable is this: we're standing at the edge of something massive. Hollywood's most powerful are scrambling, deleting, disappearing, and watching nervously as a man they once laughed off now holds the spotlight. The fallout has only begun, and as the walls close in, we're left with a haunting possibility. The truth may be darker, deeper, and more widespread than anyone ever imagined.
A lot of what happened during direct testimony were freak-offs. And what the prosecution tried to show was that he forced and or coerced her into doing these freak-offs. And we've talked about this earlier this week, that at least my opinion is that in a lot of these, the prosecution just didn't close the loop. It was something.
So now we turn it to you. Is Orlando Brown the whistleblower we've all been waiting for, or is he just the first sacrificial piece in a game that's only just begun? Let us know what you think in the comments and buckle up, because this story is nowhere near over. Until next time, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and stay tuned.